Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and today you'll be discovering the marvels of the universe, rescuing rookie space travelers, scavenging resources, improving your crew and ship, and trying to secure a safe landing to the new planet, all while utilizing deck building and hand management. USC Reach is a competitive, turn-based space odyssey for 2 to 4 players. It takes 45 to 90 minutes to play. It's for ages 13 and up and published by Arvis Games. Now it's on Kickstarter right now, so I'm going to show you how the game works, and I'll see you on the other side. This is a Kickstarter preview, so all the art and components you see here are not final, they're prototype, so check the Kickstarter link in the description of this video to see all the most up-to-date art and components. The game is broken down into 3 main rounds, and each of those rounds has 3 turns, so the game is going to be 9 turns long, and as you're going, you're going to be getting closer to where you're going to end up trying to land. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to get 1 landing card. Think of this as a secret goal that only you'll be able to see. It's like you might want to land in the desert landing zone, or you might want to land in the exotic landing zone. Whichever one you get, you'll look at it, you'll place it face down, but you can look at it anytime, but no one else knows what your goal is. And what you're trying to do is basically build up your ship and crew and such to be able to meet these requirements, because A, if you do, you'll get some points, and maybe basically some other ones too, depending on what you've done. However, if you're not able to do your landing card at the end of the game, you are excluded from scoring and can't win. So it is your utmost important. This is your main goal in the game. Now each player has a player shield that acts as their board as well. And these are the requirements for this landing card. For example, this green is the engine chamber, and you'll need to have 9 of those. You start with 1. Now this player starts with 1. Each player has a different board that's sort of an asymmetrical start. And over the course of the game, you're going to be placing crew at different spots in your ship, and you're going to be building them and upgrading them and things like that. But at the end of the game, if I don't have at least 9 of these built up, and 6 in the research center, and 7 in the crew quarters, and 8 in the command bridge, I won't be able to land in the desert. So you're going to be building this up. Of course, you'll have many more units at the end of the game, but this is just showing you the basics of what you need to build up to do this. And plus, as I mentioned, you're going to be upgrading different things. And if you're able to do all this, you'll get 5 points. And if you maybe upgraded to a lead engineer, you get an additional 5 points. We'll talk about upgrading later. So you'll have your main points and then some additional points of different objectives. Now from those different 9 turns, each one is going to go through 2 main phases, a planning phase and a resolution phase. In the planning phase, we're going to take one of these space tiles and we're going to place it here. We're on round 1, turn 1, and we will place it here. Now this will tell us one main thing, which is whoever has the most in the command bridge, which is this red section here, it's going to be turn order for that. Now on my board to start with, I have 3 command bridges. This happens to be the way my board started, so I actually have a good position to possibly be able to have first turn in this round. There'll also be some mission cards placed out on the board. There'll be 1 more than the amount of players, and these cards change with each of the 3 main rounds in the game. They get harder to do, but better rewards, sort of engine building, if you will. We'll go over these later, but these are the different requirements that you're trying to make. They're similar to the landing card that I showed you, but they're going to give you some abilities as well as the game goes on, and possibly some points at the end of the game. Then, players start with all the same basic cards at the beginning of the game. There's a whole deck of them. You're going to draw 5 off the top of your deck. You're going to flip them up, and then you're going to decide where to place these. Now you're doing this shielded to other players, and let's just say, here's what I did it. Now, when you place one of a certain color, you can place it like this, and this mid-engineer is the best one of this type. It's one of the best starting cards, and it goes to the engine chamber because it's green, it matches the symbols here, and this gives me 2, and this has 1, so I have 3 towards the engine chamber. Here, the junior scientist, I have 1, 2, 3 towards the research center. Here, I have 1 towards the crew quarters. Now, this one could have went here and got me an additional 1, but you can always flip them over to a general worker and put them into any slot. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there for the command bridge. And remember, this one's important for turn order. Because once everyone's done that and they're ready, we're going to go to the resolve step and we're going to see who has the most in the command bridge, and this is going to be turn order. So then everyone shows what they have. Let's say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say I have the most. Now I mentioned that every player's board is different. On the back of the board is a player color. I happen to just be red. So I would be in first turn order there. And then going likewise, we're going to have second, third, and fourth place. And so again, based on this, we're going to go in turn order. So now that we're in the resolution phase, the first thing you do is claim missions, and I get to go first because I was the most in the command bridge. Now I've brought the board really close to here, and I put my cards up here so you can easily see everything together. You wouldn't normally do this, but you get to claim missions, and I get to go first. I get first dibs. Now these missions, now remember, there are basically like 3 turns per round, and in the first turn, the objective, what you need is on the top, those smaller numbers. If you don't get one of these cards in the first turn of the round, the second 2 turns of a round, you're going to have to get the bigger numbers. So that's kind of how it works there. Now look at this, distress call miner. I need 5 command bridge and 1 crew quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is why I flipped this over to here, because I didn't have another pilot to put in the command bridge. So, but now I have 5 and I have 1 here. So I'm actually able to get this. Where if I waited till next round, I would have needed 6 of these, 4 of these, and 4 of these. So let's get this from that. Now other players are going to be able to, in that turn order, be able to get missions as well, but you'll be able to resolve these, and these have all sorts of different abilities. Like, hey, I get to add a mid of my choice at the end of this round. So there's different mids that you'll be able to add, one of each of the types, whether it's the command bridge with pilots, or crew quarters, research center, scientists, operators, all those different types that go in those different spots of the ship. So you get to pick which one you want and put it in your deck at the end of the round. That's really cool because this has a deck building element to it. Now, after everyone's resolved their rewards from the missions, you don't remove your place crew, but we are going to now start turn 2, and we're going to place this over. So now, whoever has the most in the crew quarters is going to get first turn order and in that order. But now we also have damage. Now, in the first turn of every round, you ignore any damage. If this one didn't have any, but if it did, you would. But in the second and third turns, if there's damage, you'll possibly be taking damage. This tells you how many cards we'll draw. In this case, it's just 1. So each player is going to draw 1 of these for each of the damage. In this case, it's just going to be 1, but some of these goes high. Sometimes you have to draw 3 cards per person there. So each player is going to draw 1 of those and resolve that damage. And so I drew it, and this is virus contamination in the research center because it matches this logo here. So it's here, this basically is -1. So here I have 1, 2, 3, -1, so I just have 2. Now notice that I did not remove the crew. You don't remove them in between individual turns. They only get removed at the end of each of the 3 major rounds. So you're building up and building up and building up in each of the turns of each round. Then each player is going to draw 5 more cards from their deck, and they're going to play them out as they see fit like we did before. Then you're going to check for turn order and go for missions again. And once everyone's placed their cards, again, you place it down and you see who has the most. In this case, it's for crew quarters. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. We'd see who have the most, and you'd set turn order, and then you'd try to claim missions as before. Now let's say it was my turn and this was still available and I wanted to scavenge crystals. Now here I need at least 1 command bridge. Of course, I've got that. I need 4 here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I need 3 here. I have 1, 2, 3, -1 is 2, +2 is 5. So I have it. So I get this. Again, it's going to be worth a point at the end of the game. And I can, when I resolve this card, play the card and immediately boost my command bridge or engine chamber, so either here or here, by 3 for this turn. So obviously I wouldn't use this now, but basically I get to hold on to this, and basically any time except the very end of the game, you can play this and add to these as sort of a bonus there. So it's really cool. Now let's just see some of the other types of rewards these things give you, like gain an experience point. Now experience points we'll go over in a bit, but they're going to allow you to upgrade your crew. We'll talk about that at the end of the round here. Some of them allow you to reveal 2 extra missions just for yourself to try to complete this turn. Now when placing cards, there's 2 ways to deal with damage. One is you can prevent damage, and that's over here. You could place any person, flip it over as a worker, and you can place up to 3 of these here. And for each of these, you prevent 1 upcoming damage. So for example, let's say the tile that was drawn next time was 2. I have -1, so I don't have to draw 1 damage instead of 2. Or instead of playing a card like I had here, you could, let's say, play any card face down like this. This is going to repair this damage, but it doesn't do it to the end of the round. Remember, a round is 3 turns. So this will stay here, and this will still contribute to this, but at the end of the round, instead of this damage hanging around and staying in the ship and giving us negative at the beginning of the next round, it actually will get removed, and so this will get removed if this is completely repaired. So you're trying to decide what to do with your specialists and your workers and how to put them up. Now, another place you could place your junior engineers is over here in the Junior Academy. You can place up to 3 of them there. Then at the end of the round, which is, remember, at the end of the 3rd turn of placing cards, you're going to be able to upgrade. Now, this actually tells you junior engineer can be upgraded to the mid-engineer. So at the end of the round, which is the end of basically the 3rd turn, you're going to be able to upgrade this from a junior to a mid, remembering that the mids are better because the mids have 2 here and they're worth a point. And a mid-engineer will eventually be able to be upgraded to a senior engineer. We'll talk about upgrading in just a moment. Now, you'd actually have more cards out here at the end of the 3rd turn, but at the end of that 3rd turn, it's the end of a round, and that's when you take all of your crew back. Again, here we would upgrade like I just showed you, but here we would get these back, and basically you'd shuffle all your crew up with any new cards that you bought, and then you shuffle your deck and get ready for the next round. And so once you finish the end of the 1st round, again, you start the next round, put a tile, and you'll do the same thing. But remember, all your crew has been taken from your ship and shuffled up. So you're going to start anew of where you're placing things. And level, round 2 cards are going to come out, and those are going to be different. They're going to be harder to do, but they're going to give you better rewards. And some of them, like this one here, once you get them, you get to increase either your bridge or your crew quarters. So for example, not only is it going to be worth 2 points at the end of the game, but this could be 2 for here or 2 for here. Now you have to decide which it is, and it stays there for the rest of the game. But this is going to help you, and at the end of the rounds, when you shuffle up your crew, these actually stay. And then after the 2nd round, you go into the last 3 turns. In the 3rd round, again, new round 3 cards are going to be coming up, and again, they're harder, but they give you cooler things like bigger benefits and use to repair 4 damage immediately. And again, getting experience points to upgrade. So let's talk about upgrading. Now again, this card told me that I could upgrade at the end of the round, and you're going to be getting experience points from some of those missions. Now, what you can do is you could take a junior scientist and upgrade it to a mid-scientist, and you do so by spending 1 experience point. And you would basically get rid of that, and you would get a mid-scientist there. If I want to upgrade from a mid to a senior, I would spend 2, and then I have a senior. If I want to upgrade from a senior to a lead, I got to get rid of 3 experience points, and I have a lead. And as you can see, they just get more powerful, and they're worth more points at the end of the game. And they're even worth, like this one only has 1 worker for this, but this one has 2 workers, 3 as the scientist, but 2 of a worker, 4 of the scientist, but 4 there. And the other types of cards can be upgraded the same way, whether it's a pilot, or an operator, or an engineer. Also, when upgrading, you can take a mid, and notice it says special. If it's placed as a worker like this, you can discard this, and you'll draw 3 cards from the specialist deck, like these, and you just pick 1 to keep, and that would be the one you keep. And of course, this is prototype material, so we don't have artwork for all these. But like for example, you would pick which one of these you'd want. You would discard this, and the 2 that you didn't keep, you would also discard, and this is now going to be part of your crew. Now at the end of the 3rd turn of the 3rd round, which essentially is the 9th round of the game, you're going to get to the final landing. Now when you get to that landing sequence, all the crew cards stay on your ship. You're going to resolve any mission rewards, and then you're going to place any added or upgraded cards into any department in your ship. You're going to resolve your repair actions and things like that, and you're going to resolve any junior academy upgrading and such. But then you're going to take all the remaining cards in your crew deck and place them in any department. So you're basically putting everything out on your ship and resolving everything, but then you're going to come down to your final scoring. Then we're going to look. If I had at least all of this, like I talked about at the beginning of the game, at this point, I'm able to score. If not, I cannot score and I cannot win. So here, if I do, I'm going to get 5 points. If I have a lead engineer, I'll get another 5 points. If I've completed 2 expedition missions, I'll get another 5 points. Plus, you're going to get points on different cards you may have. If you have any damage in your ship, each of these is going to be minus a point. Again, some other missions may have given you certain points, and whoever has the most points at the end is the winner. Well, there you have USC Reach, and as I showed in the overview, you'll be using deck building to build up your crew, placing those crew that help you build up an engine for the future rounds to gain missions, and trying to land safely in the end. Now, if you'd like to see all the most up-to-date art, components, and all the different pledge levels available, you can click the link below me, and I'm sure that the fine folks at Harvest Games would love your support.